Welcome back. If you're going through a divorce, or have already, there are a lot of moving parts. It can be a difficult process, especially when children are involved. Keeping the children at the center of the divorce can be a challenge, but using a divorce coach can help. Now, January is International Child-Centered Divorce Month, and we're joined by one of those divorce coaches this morning, Andrea Hipps. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning, Todd.
Thanks for being here. Can you tell us, sure there have been studies done, what are the effects of divorce on children?
Sure. The divorce introduces a massive change into the lives of our children, right? It's a watershed event. There's a clear before and a clear after. And what we notice in younger children, typically under the age of 9, is that they tend to exhibit regressive tendencies, right? They become sort of more baby-like, looking for the attention of their parents. And in our adolescence, they have more of an against approach. So they start to mistrust the parents and their ability to hold the marriage together. So they start to rely on themselves, their friends. But in either case, the extent to which those behaviors continue is largely dependent on how the two parents handle the divorce.
And obviously all sorts of different flavors of divorce out there, from the congenial to the combative. So what do kids need from their parents as they're going through this process?
Great question. And research shows that kids need 3 things from us as their parents. First, they need our love and affection. Second, they need to see us managing our stress well. And third, they need to see us in healthy relationship with their other parent. And Todd, this is true whether you're married or you're divorced, right? And so the trick is, we know how to give the love and affection. That's an easy one, right? But it's a harder part to learn how to manage our stress well, especially in the pressure cooker of divorce. And learning how to build that great relationship with another partner is very challenging. And that's where divorce coaching steps in to really support, motivate, and guide people into developing the kind of family they want to have 5 or 10 years from now.
That's a brilliant point for that. Looking forward, saying, what do we want this to look like after the heat of this moment or this season of our lives is over with? Having that divorce coach, obviously a great help. Now, it often comes with a broken family narrative, like, oh, you come from a broken home. But you're saying this narrative really doesn't serve anyone, and you coined the phrase, the 2-address family. So how do divorcing and divorced parents start writing that story?
Right. Divorce may end the marriage, but it does not end the relationship. And your kids are hoping it does not end their sense of family. And so we're really needing to address this idea of the broken family, which is really perpetuated by 2 adults, the parents, and the communities around them, mutually agreeing that all they're going to talk about is what the other parent can't do right. And so in order to create that healthy 2-address family that really supports our children and frankly supports the adults as well, it only takes one parent to pull back and to do the revolutionary act of championing the other parent. This is the hardest work of your life. It's vital. Your kids will notice and they'll love you for it.
Now, that relationship, that can be hard to do, because that relationship between 2 divorced parents, they're getting divorced. So it's tense, it's difficult.
Yes.
That affects the children. How do you make that different? How do you achieve what you're saying, championing the other parent?
Well, what we focus on expands. And in divorce, we focus a lot on what the other person wasn't, couldn't be, or still isn't. And that has a natural way that it ends up, which is bitterness and resentment. And so the trick is to really step in and become the kind of person who can focus on gratitude. When I was going through my own divorce about a decade ago, I was challenged to do 3 gratitudes every morning for my former partner before I got out of bed, and no repeats. Now, this is a very challenging experiment for me, but what I noticed over time was that gratitude expanded my ability to see what the assets were of my former partner, what we were going to be able to build on going forward. And that's something that most people aren't doing in divorce. They're focusing only on what isn't. We have to start doing the difficult work of focusing on what is, in terms of the good things as well.
And obviously this is all for the kids. So how do you keep the kids at the center of all of this?
I always tell people that the child-centered divorce is based on an adult-centered person at the helm. As the chief narrator of the divorce story, the parent needs to find their own center. Divorce is a wildly destabilizing event, and it can shake you up for years. And so it is critical that you build a team around you that can support you, not only from the legal perspective, which I think people initially jump to, but also from the emotional perspective. And so building in places where you can gather yourself, whether that's weekly, biweekly, or monthly, with a professional to really start imagining, what do I want my life to look like when I'm out of this, so that I can start to behave differently while I'm in it.
Andrea, thank you again for the time this morning. Don't forget Andrea's book, The Best Worst Time of Your Life. I do believe, is that the name of there it is, The Best Worst Time of Your Life. 4 practices to get you through the pain of divorce. If that's something maybe for you, for someone that you know, you can go to AndreaHippsDivorceCoach.com. Thanks again, Andrea.